Hello YouTube! Today I want to talk about the first French person that I ever met. Long before I met my French boyfriend, there was another Frenchman on the scene, and he's been around since my childhood. Actually, it's not just me. This is the first French person that most Anglo-Saxons encounter. This is the first impression of France. This is our first encounter with French people and French culture. And I'm of course talking about Monsieur Le Pew.
Hello, Pepe.
So, Pepe Le Pew from Looney Tunes, one of the most iconic and famous cartoons of all time. Generation after generation have been introduced consciously or subconsciously to French people by Pepe Le Pew, and they've learned a few pretty cliche things about the French. The first cliche that Pepe teaches us about French people is that they smell.
Qu'est-ce les waltz with la blanche strawberry et les bandes en plaid. Ils waltzent dans les fleurs with les filles adorent les bandes en plaid.
So why would they have chosen a skunk to represent the Frenchman in this cartoon? Some people say that the cliche was formed during wartime, so if British or American troops were in France in the middle of a war zone, they were obviously exposed to people who weren't smelling great. Or another theory is that just through people coming to Paris over the years, I mean, it's a big old city and it's not like it is today, you know, it didn't used to have very good sewage systems. The other theory is that it's based on what French people eat. So the smelly cheese, lots of onion, lots of garlic, and of course the wine and the smoking as well. Another idea is that it comes from the perfumes, because the modern day perfume as we know it was effectively invented in France. So there's a cliche maybe around, you know, covering one's natural smells up with very strong smelling scents like perfumes. But I don't know about this one, Mr. Pew. It's definitely not like every French person smells or has BO, not at all. And by the way, yes, the women do shave their armpits. The next cliche that Pepe Le Pew taught us as children is that French people are romantics, relentless romantics, who don't often take no for an answer.
The lips of Pepe are upon you. Pepe's love is strong.
And of course, with the French language being voted time and time again as one of the most sexiest and romantic languages in the world, it's no surprise that he uses his French language and cute little pet names to try and seduce Penelope the cat.
And so, mon chéri, we can do away with the dull preliminaries and make love right away. We can spend the rest of our lives making love. You are my peanut, I am your brittle.
Oh yes, all he wants to do is make love for the rest of his days. How French.
Where are you, my little gumbo of chicken? Your French fried shrimp is sizzling for you.
So on this cliche, okay, the pet names are true. In France, there are really cute and really funny little pet names that you can call each other, like little cabbage or little rabbit or these kinds of things. But the big romantics, the endless seductor, if you guys haven't seen Kate and I's video on dating a Frenchman, what we love about French men is that they're not afraid of public displays of affection. So maybe this is where the cliche comes from. Happily hold your hand and kiss you in public. But I would say when it comes to grand gestures of loves and words, it's a lot more low-key than you'd expect. It's like they like passion, but at the same time not making a fuss about anything. But of course we also learnt that if things don't go their way, Frenchmen are so sensitive and dramatic about it. They're so emotional, Frenchmen, ruled by their feelings.
I am the broken heart of love. I am the disillusioned.
Dis-moi les noms des plumes.
Pepe Le Pew, A pitiful case, am I not? I missed, fortunately for you.
And let's not forget the cliche that they're a little bit arrogant too. Pepe Le Pew is extremely sure and confident of himself.
I must find out what this pew means every time I appear. Here it is. Pew. It means no. No, not me. C'est ridiculous.
One of my favorite recent studies had Europeans voting for who they thought were the most arrogant nation in Europe. The general consensus was that it was the French. But the funny thing is that the French actually voted themselves the most arrogant nation in Europe. So that's actually quite humble.
Sweetheart, Pepe Le Pew loves you. Sweetheart, fortunate lucky you.
So is there any truth to this cliche? It's hard to say. People point to the fact that since the Middle Ages, Paris was the center of education for the whole of Europe. So you've seen a lot of intellectuals, philosophers, writers come from this part of the world. And it has continued in that philosophy and critical thinking and debate. These are all integral parts of the French education system today. So if you're about to get into a debate with a French person, they will defend their point of view, they will show their convictions, and it can come across as a bit arrogant. Sometimes they're not willing to back down and they're very sure that they're right. But overall, I'm not really sure that I would confirm this cliche because I've never seen people be so critical about the French as the French themselves. So there are hints all throughout Looney Tunes with Pepe Le Pew that the French like their vacation or they don't really like working so much.
A female lady skunk of the fair sex. You know, I think I deserve a vacation.
And this definitely would fuel the cliche that French people are lazy, which comes as well from the images of the strikes and the fact that if any tourists come to visit Paris in August, a lot of things will be closed down and the shops are closed on Sundays in general. So there's a little bit of a perception that the French don't work very often, which is really not at all the case. And you know, I'm not sure a little kid would notice this kind of thing. Probably not, it's probably more for the adults. But who knows the subconscious effect that it has on you. And take a second to listen to this little song lyric.
Can you kiss a pretty girl, Pepe boy, Pepe boy? Can you kiss a pretty girl, charming Pepe? Oh, that's silly. I'm a young thing and cannot leave my mother.
I'm a young thing and cannot leave my mother. Again, maybe a little subtle dig that Frenchmen in particular stay with their mothers until a much older age. So I just wanted to have this discussion about Pepe Le Pew, about pop culture in general, to talk about the effects that French bashing can have on the cliches that we form about people that we don't necessarily know and we haven't even visited their country yet. And there are so many more stereotypes about the French. The fact that they're all mimes who eat snails and they don't speak English and they all wear a beret. So what about you guys? What are your take on the French stereotypes? True, false, overrated, underrated? Let me know down in the comments below. We can continue the conversation on down there. Until the next video, see you guys next time. A bientôt!